Alrighty, hello everyone, Scott Scoot Belmont here with another crazy Counterpicks video. Today we're going to be talking about the three weird-ass picks that happened on June 24th coming out of EU. Well, I guess it was the 25th in Korea at that point. Well, actually, yeah, it was the 25th. Anyway, we're going to be talking about Aatrox being picked by the Mysterious Monkeys versus Fnatic. We're going to be talking about Akali and how such a weird, stupid champion managed to get a Penta kill. And then we're also going to talk about Mordekaiser as Numero Uno in Brazil. So, let's just jump right into it. Let me change there. We'll start with the Mysterious Monkeys and Aatrox. Let me just lower that volume and skip ahead a little bit. And we're going to try to take this through the entire pick ban phase so we can understand why they picked the way they did and see how it might have fit in their comps. So, Mysterious Monkeys, playing like a bunch of monkeys. Their bans, not very monkey-like. They have smart bans. Elise is one of the top junglers. Galio is the top person. And then Shen is pretty good in the split push. I don't know if I would give him the first ban, though. Soaz is probably super comfortable on that. Whereas on the other side, Fnatic, they ban away two of the strongest junglers, and then Tahm Kench, which means they want to be able to get picks, which means that Thresh first pick is definitely the smart move, because when you want to start getting picks, when you want to be able to, try to kill them from a long distance, Tahm Kench, he just eats them and saves them and then runs away. That first pick, Thresh, is countered by Xayah and by the Gragas. Now, Gragas is obviously not someone you want to hook, and the Xayah obviously means that they will probably go into the Rakan or something equally as engage heavy, because Xayah, late game carry, she needs someone to protect her during the early to mid game, and well, against this kind of front line right now, if I could just pause this, when you have stuns coming out of Kennen, when you have hooks coming out of Thresh, and when you have a Kha'Zix coming at you, and your only real tool to avoid anything is your ultimate, then you're going to have a tough time. So she's probably going to want to go alongside a Rakan, or maybe something less squishy that won't be afraid to get hooked, like a Braum or an Alistar. Alistar has been seeing play in this past week, and it's pretty awesome. I love the Moo Cow. But Mysterious Monkeys are going to go for that Rakan. Now, in the mid to late game, early game, it's kind of risky, but he does have all of his empowered abilities from being in the same lane as Xayah. So they might be able to bully out the Thresh and the Kennen early on. They don't have sustain in the same way Rakan does, or the number of shields that Rakan does. Or, I guess the initiation are two completely different things, because Rakan has to go in, whereas Thresh doesn't really have to. He could just like skirt around the outside of a fight and then, flay you back in, hook you, that kind of thing. It's going to be a very fragile bot lane, and we'll see how that goes. Well, we won't see how that goes later because we're stopping after the pick ban phase. But the second round of bans from the Mysterious Monkeys include LeBlanc and Corki. Corki just got a lot of buffs, so he's super strong in the mid lane. Caps was pretty strong on that the last split, so Corki coming back up in the meta. That's a smart ban. LeBlanc, just another OP mid laner, another smart ban. And then phase 2, Fnatic want to ban out Kikis' pool. They're trying to take it away, the Renekton and the Fiora, so that means they probably want to go with something tanky in the top lane, which when you have a Kha'Zix jungle, that's kind of self-explanatory. So they're trying to take away all of the tools that can possibly, tank bust in the top lane. So Mysterious Monkeys picks the OP mid laner in Syndra, and right now their comp looks really deadly. Like, that is a comp that you do not want to jump into as a Kennen or a Kha'Zix. So Mysterious Monkeys does have a very nice team comp right here. It's just gonna come down to what their last pick is in that top lane, and obviously we know what they pick, otherwise we wouldn't be making this video. But Caps and Caps and Soaz finish off with the Bruiser Jarvan that's going to go in the top lane, and then the Talia mid, who can obviously stop engages with her walls and her slow fields, deal a lot of damage to Rakan as he dashes in over her slow field, or Gragas as well. She plays from pretty far back. She has a lot of utility in her slows and you know, just all of her damage coming out. Basically a better Ziggs with more mobility because of that wall and because of her move speed near walls. So this is more of a skill matchup. It's just dependent on, you know, who gets poked out, who gets the ganks, who can land their CC, that kind of thing. So this mid lane Koskyu versus Caps, skill matchup. Now this top lane Jarvan, generally, like, these two bans are pretty smart because Jarvan has one way to go, and that's in, while those other two can dance around in the fight. So Renekton and Fiora, they can dance around Jarvan. They can dodge all of his stuff by, like, you know, Jarvan's flag and drag is very one-dimensional. You can see it coming from a mile away. Just dash away, you just prepare your parry, and you're fine. So Mysterious Monkeys, what they think, and it does depend on if they take a long time to pick this or not, because it could have been a panic pick, it could have been a mistake, because Aatrox is first in the list. But if they do, yeah, okay. So they just straight up lock in the Aatrox. And I can kind of see why they think it would be a good lane counter to Jarvan, because you think if Jarvan engages on Aatrox, and then Aatrox can just fight back, sustain through all of the burst, and then continue to deal damage back to Jarvan. So it's not a bad pick, because Aatrox, again, gets engaged on, uses his ultimate, or just uses his blood price, or blood, whatever the other thing is that heals him, and he can stay in the fight for a very long time. Jarvan has incredible burst damage, but his sustained damage over a long period of time is not nearly as high unless he goes for a lot of cooldown, which he's not going to have that early on unless he, well, he does build the Black Cleaver first, but he's not going to have that for a little while, because generally you build Tiamat, then you build the Phage, then you build the cooldown, the Kindle Gem, then you finish the Black Cleaver. So he's not going to have his drag part of his flag and drag combo that often. I think it's on like maybe a 6 or 7 second cooldown in fights in general, whereas Aatrox, all he has to do is toggle his W, and now he's healing, and now Jarvan can't kill him, so it's going to be very difficult for this Jarvan to be able to bully this Aatrox. So this is more of a lane counter pick than it is anything else, because Aatrox in this kind of team comp, he is an okay dive buddy with Gragas right here, and he can follow up on the engage from, you know, his charm knockup or Xayah's root. So he does have good follow-up, but it will come down to Dreams engaging on that Rakan. It will come down to Amazing engaging with that Gragas for him to be able to land his Q knockup, because that Dark Flight is honestly one of the worst abilities in the game, and I hate it so much. Even when I mained Aatrox last season, it was just so awful that I skilled it last all the time, no matter what. It wasn't even worth it for the mobility, really. But again, Aatrox, more of a lane counter that's Jarvan, probably, you know, I think they're just cheesing to try to get a win, and obviously they don't. They lose this game. So we're going to go on to the next one. Hopefully that provided a little insight as to why they picked such a horrible, horrible champion. Now, we're going over to Korea. This is going to be slightly different, because Koreans actually know what they're doing. And yes, it's kind of a jab at EU. And my personal belief is anything below top 5 Korea is practically trash. And even then, you know, SKT messes up sometimes. Jin Air is technically top 5. So it's on the edge of a knife. Basically everyone is trash. I'm trash. Double Lift is trash. Carrying on, we have 3 jungle bans, or Gragas top if people still play that even after the mana nerfs to the Doran's Ring. So Elise, another ban, 4 jungle bans, and that's really going to pinch the pool. But, you know, a lot of champions have been coming up in the jungle pool, such as Nidalee making a comeback, Rek'Sai obviously with that comeback because of the ultimate changes and the huge buffs to the AD ratio on her W, I think it is. So Caitlyn as the last ban. Syndra is just an OP mid laner, just take that out because Crown is pretty good on it. And then Caitlyn, you know, they don't want Teddy to have anything he could possibly hard carry on by himself. So take away the Caitlyn and you're golden. Jin Air, they're going to first pick Galio. That's an obvious choice because Galio is the champion right now. You can put him mid, you can put him top, you can put him support. He's great when it comes to following up on any of those engages, etc., etc. You know why he's picked, and if you don't, then I can't help you at this point. Samsung are going to follow up with Kha'Zix and Zyra. Those two champions in a vacuum together do not work well together. Kha'Zix wants to go in while Zyra wants to stay around the edge of a fight and do counter engage because of her giant AoE knockup, her ability to kite away and just walk away from any fight, especially if you were to build a Rylai's on her. So these two champions, almost no synergy except for the fact that they are not human. So I don't really know what their plan is at this point. Jin they're going to counter with another very strong jungler in the Rek'Sai. Rek'Sai, again, just got all those buffs, just got a lot of damage, just is very good in general because of that AoE, I can see where you're walking, and because of the knock-up that has like a 5-second cooldown. Then they also lock in... Okay. They lock in Blitzcrank, obviously to counter the Zyra in lane, and as another measure to try to stop this Kha'Zix, because if Kha'Zix jumps in, Galio taunts, knocks up, he can knock up, silence. And then Fiora is basically a counter to Galio, because she can dance around in those fights. If you taunt her, she wants to continue attacking you, so she's going to continue attacking you. If you try to engage on her, she can just dance away and then ult you and then dance around you for a billion damage and a lot of healing. So this is a specifically lane counter to Galio. They don't know where it's going, so this Fiora might find its way mid. We've seen it before. Victor's banned out, so now Crown can't have that as an option. That's a decent option into the Galio, especially Crown's Victor. And then Xayah Rumble. Rumble is a very good top laner who does okay into Fiora. That's, again, kind of a skill matchup. But Rumble is better at team fighting while Fiora is better at split pushing. So they would probably send the Galio to deal with the split push, but then Fiora would just destroy her in lane. So it's a sensitive matchup. Orianna, again, one of Crown's picks. They just want to keep cutting Crown's champion pool because they know he's one of the best players. He probably is the best player on the team. So taking away the Orianna takes away the possible, the ball initiation bug with Kha'Zix, and they'll decide to lock in the Varus for ruler. So this bot lane right here, the Zyra Varus, is kind of the same fashion as Zyra Jhin or Zyra Ashe, where they have a good amount of poke damage. They can, stay really far back and farm from a very safe distance, and they have a lot of good counter engage and follow up for anyone who does get slowed or stunned or knocked up anyway. Then, they hover the Lucian because they know, oh, Lucian, he counters Fiora now. So they're like, we'll play around with that. We're actually not going to lock that in because, I think they lock in the Ashe here. Ashe is, again, just another super solid ADC, long range engage with her ultimate, very good follow-up with her ultimate, with her constant slows, and works really well into Rek'Sai, who's going to go in, Galio, who's going to go in, Blitzcrank, who's going to try to hook someone to pick them, and then she provides air support just with her long-range arrows and her incredible damage from the, the Hurricane. Now this is where it happens. Akali is locked in. They're thinking, well, Akali, they don't really know what to think, because now if this Fiora is indeed going mid against Galio, they're going to want something that can deal with Akali in top lane. But if Fiora goes top lane, then they would want to pick something into this Galio. But Crown's pool has just been very limited. Akali does very well into Fiora, as you will see in this game, because, well, no, I don't even think they lane against each other. I fell asleep after this was locked in, and then I woke up again when the Mordekaiser was locked in. I woke up in time to see the Penta kill, so I didn't really watch the game. But if you look at what is going on right now, Akali is good into Fiora, at the very least at level 6, because as soon as Fiora ults, she could just put down her cloud and be invisible until the ult runs out or she runs away. And then, as she's constantly dashing away, dashing around in the fight, she can just click on her and be on top of her again anyway. Plus, she can out-sustain her as soon as she gets her Gunblade. So this Fiora would not stand a chance in lane. So now Samsung is thinking, alright, what can we counterpick this Akali with? And they think the best option is going to be the Kled, because Kled, again, is similar to Fiora, is similar to Renekton, in the sense that with their dashes, they can go in and out at will. They have tools that, you know, you hook them, you drag them back into the fight. And again, you kind of saw it right here, but they did have Akali hovering over mid, so I think they just wanted to play this mind game, like, oh, where's the Akali gonna go? And, you know, they might have been talking about it in Champ Select. I know Papa Smithy and Atlas would have been, but, you know, this is Spo TV, and I wasn't watching Spo TV, so I don't know what they were saying. But, again, Akali can out-sustain this Kled, and one problem that a lot of champions have is they can't finish Kled off after he gets off of his motorcycle, but Akali does not have that problem, because, again, she just points on him, clicks on him, dashes right to him, and now, well, Kled has no tools except for his Q, which she can just click on him again and then kill him. So this is a very hard lane counter, and what they want to do is kind of force that Fiora to go against the Galio, even though that's kind of what they wanted anyway, and make them pick a bad matchup into this Akali. Because if they pick Renekton, then yeah, again, pre-6, Renekton's going to have the advantage because he can stun her, slice and dice, dance back in and out. But as soon as she hits level 6, or if the Rek'Sai ganks early, then it's going to be a serious problem for the Samsung Galaxy top laner, which later in the game you do see that is indeed the case. I think Iksu was something like 3-1-5 before getting that Penta kill, so obviously very dominant in the early phases of the game, and then, well, cheeses for the Penta kill. So just to kind of summarize, this was picked as an answer to the possible Fiora top, forcing them to make the Fiora go mid, which is still a favorable matchup, but because it is a shorter lane, she's not going to be able to kill him that easily. So he's just going to clear the wave, be happy farming. This is a farm lane for Galio. He's just going to, you know, do his thing, throw his Q, kill all those minions, look at how happy he is, and then she's going to be like, well, shit, I have no kill pressure because I don't have CC, and, well, it's a short lane. I can't exactly chase him under tower. Because, you know, in top lane and in bot lane, it takes years to go from one tower to the other. But in mid, it's like just one dash away. Alright, I think that's all I need to say about this one. Akali, not a cheesy pick, directly counters anything that Samsung could have put in the top lane. Now we're going to go to... What the hell? Did this skip ahead or something? Or did it start late? Whoever cut this did a terrible job. Alright, so now this is going to be the Mordekaiser game. And, yeah, just again, whoever cut this did a terrible job. So, going over the bans first. You know, standard bans again. Caitlyn and Rumble are probably going to be continue to ban until 7-12, where Rumble gets put into the dumpster. And Caitlyn is still going to be banned because she's one of the strongest ADCs. And Kramer is no joke. Then you have Ashe, Elise, and Zac. You know, Elise, Zac, Lee Sin, all very strong junglers. Just want to keep them out of the hands of the other person. And the Ashe, that's probably just a standard ban against Prey, because we've seen the Prey Ashe arrows. Everyone's been there. Me and my little brother saw it live in the garden. It was amazing. But I don't think Ashe really warrants a ban, especially when your plan is to take Xayah first anyway. But, you know, that's just all their prerogative. Longzhu starts off with the Galio pick again. Galio is just the champion to have. Afrika Freaks, they want to start it off by picking the incredibly OP Xayah pick, which is basically the new Caitlyn, because she has that long range in her Q, and, you know, she's pretty hard to kill. She doesn't have mobility, but she's still difficult to kill in lane, because a lot of her damage, when it just comes back to you and bursts you down, it's like, whoa, where did that come from? I played against it myself, and, you know, despite the fact that it's gold elo, it was still, you know, really difficult, because you think, oh yeah, I'm going to go in on her and kill her, and then she calls back all of her feathers, you take 700 damage, and you just die. It's like, well, okay. They also pick Gragas, who, again, one of the strongest junglers right now. And, you know, his job is to just peel for this Xayah while she does all the work. Longzhu, they're going to follow up with another form of jumping in and engaging with the Kha'Zix. So their plan right now, Kha'Zix jumps in, and then Galio ults on top of the Kha'Zix, and then everyone gets knocked up and they die. And Varus is just the substitute for Ashe, long-range poke, yada yada blah blah blah. We went over that last time. And then Afrika, they want to pick something dominant in the top lane because they think, you know, this Galio might be going top, and even if it's not, we can pick it now and ban out the things that counter it so that we can either force a favorable matchup anyway, because he does good into tanks as well, or we could just force that Galio up top, which again is a favorable matchup, and force them to pick something else in the mid lane. So it's very smart to pick this Renekton here for Marin, who loves playing Renekton, and, you know, banning out the Fiora. Very smart ban. Fiora has much more mobility, can dance around the Renekton. It's really easy. They're like, alright, whatever, we don't really care. We're going to ban out things that counter this Galio in the mid lane. So, this Cassiopeia. A lot of consistent damage, kites you around the fight, has slows, so he can't really get in to land his stun. And the move speed she gets from hitting her Twin Fangs, you know, that's going to be enough to run away from his knockup and all of that. So, a smart ban here. Braum is another potential ban. I don't really agree with it, but I guess it's one of Gorilla's favorites. Maybe they know something I don't. It's not like Xayah does bad into it, but his wall can block a lot of the feathers going out and going in. So I guess this is a more better safe than sorry. Or because they haven't picked their support yet, they want to make sure that they have a favorable support matchup. So they also take away the Lucian ban, which means that they're probably thinking, yeah, this Galio is definitely going mid. So we want to, again, take away another strong mid laner into the Galio so that he doesn't have a tough time. So Lucian does do well into Galio, because if Galio tries to dash in, Lucian just dashes backwards and hits you with his move speed W and then runs away giggling while he just auto attacks you to death. So again, another smart ban coming out of the mid lane. We've seen Kuro play it before. And now we're going into the second round of picks. Afrika, they're going to pick the Rakan to finish off the Xayah Rakan combo. We know what they can do. We've all seen it. And if you haven't yet, then get your head out of the cave. We need you to watch the Xayah Rakan combo to see how silly it is. And it is incredibly fun to watch because their engage is long range. It's been said before. And the idea behind this Alistar pick, I did mention that it was being you know, focused now, is a combination of peel in case, you know, Marin wants to come in on that Renekton, and it is a case of counter engage, because now if Kramer comes in onto this Alistar, I mean not Kramer, if Tucson uses Rakan to engage onto Alistar, Alistar can just knock him back and then run away. Or if he uses his the quickening into his knockup, he can Unbreakable Will charm and then knock him back and just ruin this guy's day. So it's a very good pick. It does have the sustain to be able to keep up with the possible poke, and it's an interesting lane matchup to see. I was actually awake for this game for like the first 20 minutes at the very least. It's very hard to stay up for LCK. And then this is when it's locked in. Mordekaiser, because they know they have so much CC just in these three champions that they can bring pure damage into the top lane to counter this Renekton. Because Renekton, he comes in on you, you pop that the thing that swirls around you, you pop your Mace of Spades, you pop the cone in front of you, and even just dashing in, he takes a crap ton of damage. And then dashing back out, who knows if he even dealt damage to you, because you have so much sustain in your kit. You have those health shields that'll be coming in just by using your abilities, and then you have the sustain from the swirling metal death. I don't remember what the name of the skill is, but it's the thing that he puts on a minion, and if it lasts the whole time, then it heals him or some stupid shit. So he's going to be able to sustain against this Renekton and even possibly win trades. The only thing is they don't really have much kill pressure when it comes to ganking top unless this guy does it as well. So again, their game plan right now is have Gorilla engage with Alistar, is have Cuz jump in on top of them, and then have BDD use Galio ultimate to bring down the house, and then Mordekaiser is going to pop ultimate onto whoever is nearby, and then just slap them with a hammer until they die. So this is another case of, you put your tank in the mid lane so you can bring more damage top. This is just a countermeasure to the lane dominance. I'm not going to say it's like having Fiora in the top lane because she has little CC, but it's similar. You have damage where you would normally have a tank, and you have a tank where you would normally have damage. So it definitely works out here. And then Afrika, they're like, what the hell is a Mordekaiser? We haven't been to Brazil? Ha 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 ha. That joke has been done to death, and I know I am a terrible person that has also succumbed to its meme power. But Afrika obviously don't know what to pick in this. They're taking a very long time to even hover something, and it's just a mid laner to go into this Galio. The two Counterpicks have already been banned out, so they think, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to pick the Malzahar, and we're going to basically silence anyone who wants to get close to us so they can't engage, and even if someone does jump in, we'll just ult them, then kill them. Unfortunately, that is not how it works out in this game. It was a close game up until around the time I fell asleep. It was pretty back and forth, but eventually the Mordekaiser does grab the W. And it is pretty funny to watch Mordekaiser Dragon attack a tower, and then they have I forget who secured the Rift Herald in this game, but it would have been so funny to see Rift Herald and Mordekaiser Dragon just tag teaming to take down a turret. Like, how stupid would that be? Which is probably also part of the plan, but they didn't get to execute it at all, which is a damn shame. It would have been great. And for the last one, is a special request from a little birdie in bronze that tells me that apparently Dr. Mundo Mid is a great counter to Kassadin. I could see how that works, because, they're both melee, and, any damage done to Mundo, he's just going to regen it back, until, of course, Kassadin gets his Morellonomicon, in which case, see you later, asshole. So, take with that what you will. He's not actually bronze, he's in silver. But, that's going to be it from me. Thank you for watching. I very much appreciate the views. If you'd like to, tell me if there's anything I can do to improve in my video, just leave it in a comment below. Subscribe if you really like my content and want to see more of it. I really appreciate any good positive feedback or negative feedback, as long as it's constructive. So just, tell me whatever. And, I want to try to improve my content, my stream, to be the best coach I can possibly be. I am still looking for jobs applications. It's kind of difficult because I'm still working at a crappy ass restaurant. This is the part of the video where you can stop if you don't want to hear me rant about my shitty life. What the fuck is my hair doing? But yeah, working as a busboy, it's not fun, but it's honest work. I would much rather be coaching. So if any amateur teams, if any teams in Oceania or Latin America, I don't care where you're from, if you just want someone to help you out, I'm right here. I'm your guy. I will be an analyst. I'll work for free as an analyst, because that's not as much work as being a head coach. Also not nearly as time consuming. It's just something to put on the resume to keep my mind fresh, that kind of thing. So if you're looking for an analyst, I can definitely do the work. If you're looking for a coach, well, all the work is right here in front of you. And yeah, that's about it from me. That's gonna be it for now, and I'll try to come back with another video soon. I like doing the pick and ban analyses, because that's where a lot of games are won and lost, is that surprise factor. Like, everything I just covered in this video, that's all surprise factor crap. That's all like, shit, we did not prepare for a Mordekaiser, what do we do? I don't know. And well, it's one of the more fun parts of the game. it's leading the team while inside of the game that's difficult, and that's where training your shot callers to recognize when the best time to do X, Y, and Z is with the A, B, and C comp. That's when it gets really complicated and down to the nitty gritty. So it's a lot harder to say what A team might have been thinking at this time while B team is doing this, and they don't have vision of each other, so they're thinking they could be doing C, D, and E while F and G is actually going on. So it's at the very top level, it is a lot to consider and a lot to take in. It's not as hard as I'm making it sound to try to understand what's going on. It's just a lot of experience that needs to go behind it, and basically having a quick mind for it. Like, if I told you, okay, in this meta, I want you to take Dragon at 10 minutes and then try to take Rift Herald anytime after that, and it's like, well, what do we do if we have a comp that can't do that? And it's like, okay, do something else. We can do, try to focus the turret, or, with this specific comp, we can just ARAM it up in mid, or those are very basic monkey examples, but that's where all the fun is. That's when it starts being like, yes, this is coaching. This is fun. Yes! But, yeah, that's what I love to do. It's great. Alrighty. If you watch this far, thanks again. If you actually did watch this far, send me an email and say that you want a free Steam key for Dragonfin Soup, the fantastic roguelike. Can't even do it. But no, that's another part of my life. I still have free keys for a really shitty Steam game. So if you want a key for a really shitty Steam game, hit me up. I don't want these keys. My friends don't want these keys. Nobody wants these keys. All right, I'm done.